Andrew Morrison here, also known as Andrew the Astrologer. Welcome to my channel. If you aren't subscribed, get subscribed and turn on all notifications so you never miss a brand new video here on my channel for astrology, of course. So before we get into today's main content discussing the brand new shift in which planet Jupiter, shifted and moved into a whole new zodiac sign being Taurus, which is an earth-based sign. I just want to mention that I do have a few spots and spaces available if you are really needing more guidance in your life. Perhaps you are at a crossroads, maybe you are experiencing relationship or marriage problems and issues, maybe it's pertaining to finances and money and income. Whatever is going on in your current reality, I'd love to sit down and work with you and help provide guidance. And the best way to schedule your astrology reading and consultation is to send me an email. My direct email is always posted down in the description down below down there. Now, also found in the description down below is a link to my free, no cost whatsoever, Facebook group community. And what's great about my Facebook group, I've had that for several years now. You can go back several years, and I consider it sort of the storehouse for all of my proof, receipts, and my timelines to fully back up all of my astrology predictions. And obviously, I don't have time to get into today's video to back up all of my predictions and insights. But I always like to mention that because I do realize that people don't always fully believe in astrology. They think it's some sort of pseudoscience. They think it's some sort of scam. But unfortunately, it's not. It's one of the oldest sciences here on planet Earth, and it works. And so again, the link to my Facebook group, if this does speak to you at this time, it's always found in the description down below. So let's just dive right into this video, discussing Jupiter's transit into Taurus, which actually initiated at the beginning of this month, the first week of May of this year. And typically Jupiter stays in one single zodiac sign for a full year, give or take. So therefore, as you can see on the screen in front of you, Jupiter will stay in Taurus, which is an earth-based sign, all the way until the middle of May the following year, 2025. So just full transparency and honesty about me, because I think it's important to know who you're following, especially when it comes to astrology. There's so many different systems of astrology out there. For me, I practice and I work with the Eastern-based system of astrology. So therefore, the planets fall back into the previous zodiac sign, generally speaking. And so I have made other videos pertaining to Jupiter in Taurus with this transit. And so just a brief general overcap on what to expect during Jupiter's time in the Earth-based sign of Taurus. I do strongly feel and predict that unfortunately, many people will experience some sort of weight gain in water retention. Not everyone, but we have to remember that I kind of label Taurus as the zodiac sign of consumption, because Taurus is connected to the second house in astrology. The second house deals a lot to do with the mouth, so therefore what goes into the mouth being food, beverages, drinks, sweets, and desserts, and then what goes out of the mouth is also connected to the second house in Taurus, which is our speech, the way that we communicate and express ourselves as well. And so I will touch base on this in a little bit, but during Jupiter's transit in Taurus, I do also feel furthermore that human beings, their goals and their aspirations all around the world will be heavily focused more on adding more structure, stability, and sustainability. Because again, Taurus, as I mentioned numerous times in this video, it's all to do with earthly matters. And Taurus is also deeply connected to money and income. So with that said, I definitely feel like human beings all around the world will become a lot more focused, and their mindset will be focused on their personal financial situations, and then therefore searching and seeking out for different ways and different opportunities to build and create more wealth and income and finances into their individual realities. So going back to the whole food and nutritional aspect of this transit, uh, because Jupiter does deal with our consciousness, and Jupiter also does deal with truthfulness and spirituality, of course. Jupiter's transit in Taurus from May of this year until May of next year, Jupiter's transit into Taurus, and throughout Taurus, I should say, will also elevate people's awareness and understanding about their eating and their nutritional habits. And therefore, I predict as a result, this will really force people to make a lot of important changes and iterations and modifications to their diets, to the different foods that they are ingesting, and really taking a hard look at all that, as well as taking a hard look at, their lifestyle habits and their patterns. So today's video, I want to focus on the fact that there's three main constellations with the system that I work with. There's three main constellations in Taurus. So with my other videos that I made on the same subject matter, I discussed the first two constellations and what can be expected with Jupiter's transit throughout those first two constellations in Taurus. So therefore, I am talking in today's video discussing Jupiter's transit into the last final constellation in Taurus. Again, there's three main constellations in Taurus with the system that I work with and I practice. So on that note, starting around August 21st of this year until approximately around October 9th, Jupiter will be in this constellation that I'm discussing here, which is deeply associated and connected to hunting and gathering, which will make more sense as I'm going along in today's video. And then around, again, October 9th of this year until November 28th, that will be in which Jupiter will be in its retrograde energy and motion in the same constellation. So altogether, Jupiter will be transiting from August 21st, so approximately around the third week in August, that is. Jupiter will be transiting in the same constellation from August 21st all the way until the tail end of November, approximately around November 28th. So during these time frames, Jupiter will also activate people's strong urge to seek out for more knowledge, truth, and learning. And I also want to touch base on the fact that this constellation that I'm speaking of, it doesn't just stop in Taurus, it also extends and expands into the first early degrees of Gemini. So as I mentioned before, this constellation, I call it the Hunter and Gatherer constellation and star, because people that do have this constellation strong in their personal birth charts, they can be all about hunting and gathering and seeking and searching. Sometimes it is for a specific mission, but many times it's just aimless searching and seeking, not necessarily in hopes to gain something. A lot of times it's just for the thrill of the chase of acquiring something out of life. And so this constellation, again, it's very inquisitive in nature and very curious. And it's really all about collecting items, collecting things, and seeking more out of life. Now, Jupiter won't go into the Gemini portion of this constellation until May of next year, 2025. But during its time in the Taurus side of things, from August 21st to the end of November, approximately around November 28th, I definitely feel like people will be more forced to step outside of their personal comfort zones as a means to adapt to the big changes happening on both a global and personal level. And as I mentioned before, Taurus is all about, just because it's all about being an earth-based sign and dealing with earthly matters, Taurus is all about building income and wealth and finances. And so therefore, with Jupiter in this constellation during those time frames, people will definitely be on a mission to seek and search out for more opportunities and different ways to build more wealth and really all together to improve their financial situations, whether it's possibly adding more hours at their current line of work or their current jobs, adding a side hustle, for example, adding a side business, starting an online business, for example, which is becoming increasingly more popular ever since the health crisis a few years ago, just to list off a few examples. Or it could also be, for example purposes, people could be really interested in, starting on a whole clean slate by stepping into the role of entrepreneurship and being business owners of any kind. Now, furthermore, on a material and economic level, this energy with Jupiter moving out through this particular specific constellation, this energy will really motivate and inspire human beings all around the world to become a lot more obsessed with finding the best deals while shopping, trying to find, amazing discounts and coupons, and really all together looking for different ways to cut down on their spending habits as a means to really build up their savings, their checking accounts, and their bank accounts as well. Because again, I really stress the point with this constellation, it's all about collecting and searching and seeking. And many times, furthermore, people, and I've seen this in my clients' charts as well, they can be very obsessed with finding the best deals, finding the best discounts, finding the best coupons as a means to, cut back a lot on their spending habits. I see that all the time with this particular constellation. Now, if you have been following me for a while, you understand by now that I always like to talk about the different layers for astrology. So, with that said, I also like to touch base on the spiritual and emotional standpoint in a lot of my predictions and my insights. So, on a deeply spiritual and emotional level, I am unfortunately concerned during this time frame that I mentioned earlier, from that third week in August until the end of November, around November 28th, give or take. I am concerned that the world could see a rise in issues pertaining to stalking, predators of all kinds. We have to remember that this is YouTube, and so just use your best imagination. So predators and assaults of all kinds, those issues and problems I am concerned about, because going back to this constellation and this star, it's all about hunting, and I will get to that in a little bit on what I'm really talking about. So I went back, actually, astrologers, we do this all the time. I went back the last time when Jupiter was in the same constellation, which was approximately around 2012 and 2013. And me personally, I am someone that's very data driven. I love statistics. I'm all about research because, again, astrology is a science at the end of the day. During the time frame when Jupiter was in this constellation back in 2012 and 2013, there was surprisingly an uptick in assaults of all kinds. Again, use your best imagination because this is YouTube, but there was a lot of assaults during that time, which is connected to this constellation. Now, many people that have planets strong in this constellation, and I've seen this also in my clients, and I also have close friends of mine actually that have this constellation strong in their chart. Many people that have this constellation very potent in their birth charts have dealt with, on some level, with people and those that love to stalk and become overly obsessive. So, for example, I won't say any names here, but I do have a good friend of mine. He has this constellation strong in his chart, and he actually has dealt with overly obsessive women on the whole dating scene. And not only that, these women did display predatory characteristics and state and traits. It is. So if you are an individual, this is why I want to touch base on this. If you are an individual that has dealt with any form of stalking or unwarranted harassment during this time frame, that's the beauty of astrology, because we can prepare during this time frame that I mentioned in August until the end of November. it's just best to take all the necessary precautions to avoid and cut down anything that could become problematic for you. So if you have noticed this pattern and this theme in your life of dealing with those that like to stalk, those that like to harass you, just take all the necessary precautions. And this also certainly includes just using your best street smarts. Don't walk down dark, scary alleys at night. Just take all the necessary precautions so you don't experience any problems, or the problems of stalking and harassment don't become out of control. Now, furthermore, talking about all of this energy and this theme of stalking and predators, if you are single and on the dating market currently, or in the summer, which is in the northern hemisphere, during this time frame that I mentioned several times in this video, it's best to, and it's also important to be advised that many people during that time frame with Jupiter during this constellation, many people might be playing some sort of funny games, head games, possibly stringing you along just for the thrill of the chase, just going back to that whole symbolism of hunting and gathering, and those that like to just become overly obsessive with seeking out something. A lot of times it's not on a specific goal. And a lot of times people that don't always have a specific intention when it comes to dating, they play head games because they don't always know fully what they want. And that's why people can play games of all kinds. So again, if you are single and you are on the dating market, you're trying to settle down with someone, you're trying to find that Mr. Right or Mr. Right or the perfect woman, just take things very slow. Don't rush into things. Don't rush into any relationships during this time frame. It's best to just let nature take its course until people's thoughts, their emotions, and their intentions are clearly sorted out. And if you do experience individuals while dating during this time frame playing different games or trying to string you along just as a means to stroke their own ego, never take anything personal. And also, not only that, don't be discouraged, because as the old saying and adage goes, there's always plenty of fish in the sea. So I know today's video was a lot more brief in comparison to my other videos, but I hope you found this very insightful and helpful for you. And again, I'd love for you to subscribe and hit the bell, and make sure to hit the like button as well. It's one of the easiest ways to support my channel, and again, it's completely free. So thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video to come.